I haven't really read any fanfic. I've seen a bunch of pictures. It's crazy. Some cool stuff, some like way out stuff. But I mean, I have some fanfics. Like I ship Zutaro, so some people like sent me some really good Zutaro stuff to read, stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't delved. They say that's a deep, dark hole you can jump into, which I haven't really jumped into yet. But I'm sure it's fun.
The fanfic rabbit hole goes very, very, very.
The rabbit hole. There's been some crazy photos. I saw someone like drawing some crazy stuff with like American Dragon and Zuko. I'm like, this is crazy. That's just why. What are you thinking of? Why are you thinking of that? That's weird.
Because they can pull firebender.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And Zuko writing Jake into battle because he writes dragon.
It's weird. Questions? What is that big thing in the back? What is that?
That's Gara's. That's
Bomb?
sand. That's a sand gourd.
Sand gourd.
Yes.
Is it heavy?
A little bit.
Sucks. What we do for cosplay. What we do for cosplay.
Right?
Yes.
When you recorded for The Last Airbender, like, do you remember like what was one of your favorite lines that you recorded?
I mean, you know what? I don't think we remember while I'm doing it. Later on, when you watch the shows, things become like really funny. The scenes, you know. I mean, that's what Buddy's like a great line. I love that moment. I think less of lines and more of like scenes and stuff. Like all the stuff on Uncle Iroh, really beautiful stuff. I always love the scene well, the whole episode, but the scenes where Zuko's on a date. I just like that kind of color on it. Like I like playing those scenes and seeing, because it's just outside of like the angsty, I gotta go find the Avatar dude, you know what I'm saying? And like, just let him be, this teenage kid that's on a date, like, hey, let me try to impress you with my firebending skills in this fountain. But it was cool, so I love that kind of episode. And that, I was like, whatever happened to that girl, Zuko? What happened? We don't know. Just one of those girls.
We may never know.
We may never know. Questions?
Was that kind of a hint towards a line that you wanted him to say?
Is there a line that you like? What line was your favorite line?
That's Rough Buddy.
Yeah, that's Rough Buddy's a good line.
Iconic.
Iconic. That's Rough Buddy. I know. We have that T-shirt. We have it on a T-shirt from me and Jack DeSena. I did a photo shoot with Jack DeSena because it's like I have this line of T-shirts called Rufio Zuko, and there was like one is like a moon. And it's just like, that's Rough Buddy. Like some of these shirts, I don't know. Only people that know will get these shirts. Other people are like, what is that on your shirt? What is that? I'm like, don't worry about it.
You can find that in the dealer channel. I saw that.
Yeah.
That's a really awesome
That's
shirt.
a good one. People love that shirt for sure. And when Jack wore it, it's like, yeah, it's funny.
Do we have any more questions?
Any more questions? Yeah. Hook.
When you're in like the booth for recording voice acting, is that a fun set to be on, or
Yeah.
good stories about that?
With actors, it's always a good day when it's a day of work. You know what I'm saying? The reality is like, you work, you don't work more days than you work. So the days you get to work is always a good day. In the booth, it's different than a film stage because obviously you're not on stage, you don't have a trailer, you're not like, that whole experience is different. But it's great because you're at close proximity with the other actors usually, and we're here working out scenes, and your performance, your performance is really based upon your voice and not upon other things. But that being said, I'm the kind of, it's not, everyone has their own process, but because I'm like an on-screen actor, I just can't, I'm not the kind of act sitting down. There's some people that just act the whole time sitting down. I can't do that. They know when I come into the vocal booth, they're like, it's a stand-up mic setup, and I'm gonna stand up for the whole session, and I'm just gonna act the scenes out. I'm just gonna act the scenes out, because that's what I do, and that's the only way I know how to act, So it's fun, it's interesting. It's a different technique because sometimes you may have had the script earlier, sometimes you didn't, sometimes the actor's gonna be there, you can play off each other. Sometimes, which I hate, they're not there, but you just do the scheduling, and you just have to do your lines on the scene, which is horrible for me, because I'm like, I'm an actor, I want to my performance, a lot of times is dependent upon, acting is not just, I'm going to act for you. That's not how acting works. Acting's like us playing tennis. You know what I'm saying? And reacting to what you're doing. That's part of my performance. Is part of your performance. We're like our performances are intertwined. So when you're doing it by yourself, it's hard unless you have a really, really great director who's able to be that gap to help you guys kind of like match up together. So I don't know. It's just part of it. I prefer to act with human beings. Yeah.
So if it's all like acting, what were the fight scenes like? Were you actually like pretending to get hit, or did you act just like
Yes.
make random sounds?
You become a kung fu master in a little box. It was funny. Like, are you ready to hear some fighting stuff? It's always funny because you're doing all kinds of punches and kicks and taking hits, definitely during the fight scenes. You just have to there comes a time when you're acting in the booth, and acting period, where you're like, well, I'm just gonna be a fool. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea of being cool, it flies out the window. Like we're just gonna act foolish, and we're gonna do it big. And you do your whole kung fu sounds, and then May will do their kung fu sounds, and then Jack will do his kung fu sounds, and you're like, you're a kung fu master, and so am I.
Do you have any good kung fu sounds on you?
No, we got it. You have any good ones?
Oh, dude, I have terrible.
You're like,
They're all stereotypical.
they're all stereotypical. Because if they're not stereotypical, people are like, what are you doing, burping? No, I'm gonna do some kung fu. All that kind of stuff. It's embarrassing. I'm telling you, it's halfway embarrassing.
It is.
But when you're in a booth and you're getting paid, you're like, I'm cool, let's do this. Questions?
Yep, we got time for a
We
little
got
bit
time for
more.
a few more questions. If y'all want to know anything about anything.
How do you imagine like Zuko is in Legend of Korra? Because like he's not like the main character anymore. But
Yeah.
like, what would you say like happened to him in all those like 70 years or whatever?
And he was a good fire lord, probably. You know, he was getting his old bomb.
Seemed like it, yeah. Seemed like it.
Seems like he's wise. His hair's all
Where do you get the dragon
gray.
from?
Huh?
Where do you get the dragon from?
He's a firebender. You remember like the episode with Find the Dragons? There's only two
There's
left.
an egg. They touched it and got in trouble.
There's an egg. He,
Yeah, the sunstone.
let me tell you something. He knows some dragons. Might hook up with Khaleesi. You know,
Rode on the back of
rode on the back of dragons.
hip-hop.
Like, yo,
Yeah, hip-hop one.
Khaleesi, I'm the fire lord. Like, that's your dragons, you're my dragons. We could be friends. I don't know. I think he was a great. I don't know. He gotta have a great. He's still alive. He's the only one left alive, right? Oh, Katara. Maybe Katara.
Toph.
Oh, Toph is alive. Oh, yeah, Toph is back. I haven't not caught him all the way. But yeah, so he's gotta be good. He's still Fire Lord. He never got his. I always thought he was gonna get his scar erased by Katara.
Like healed.
Healed. For a second, I thought she was gonna heal his scar in the cave. That's when I first started shipping Zutara. But then that never happened.
There's still time.
He still has that
No,
scar.
there was a guy that came in here yesterday and he was like, so now that,
Yeah, now that Aang is dead, he was like,
Katara and Zuko are still hanging.
I don't know.
No, yeah.
He still has a scar.
It's true.
When if he doesn't have a scar, then you know they hooked up.
Zuko still needs healing.
Zuko says
And we're questioning.
yes in the back.
You think maybe she healed his heart instead?
Yeah, I do. Yep. No, I still ship them. May's cool. May's cool too. People that ship Make are like so mad at me all the time. I run to them like, I'm mad at you. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's all good. It's not like, it's just a ship. It's not canon. I mean, canon's more real. It's cool. Canon's cool. Canon's what it is. But you can ship things. You can ship things. I don't know. Actually, rewatching the show again, like, May's cool. I'm down with May. May's cool. She's cute. I actually love her voice.
You don't hate her, right?
No, I don't hate her. I don't hate her. She doesn't hate me.
She doesn't hate you either.
Actually, I mean, that's a pretty good relationship, though, too, if you think about it. He's the Fire Lord. Who knows what he did?
That's true. What,
I'm
are
just
you
saying.
talking about Zuko making fire babies everywhere?
I don't know what the Fire Lord's doing.
Hidden airs.
Right.
Oh no.
Game of Thrones, dude. Game of Thrones. Things happen in the Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, the game of avatars.
I know. I wanted them to promote, like, the last season of Korra like they promote Game of Thrones.
That'd be pretty
Wouldn't it cool.
Well, that's kind of where it went, didn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just talking-
It's like the children.
Yeah, like, I'm just, like literally, they should just took the full-on Game of Thrones PR and just put it on. You know, just the faces and like really desolate, like
That would have been good. I think that'd be. You should definitely talk to Mike about
be
that.
pretty funny.
Yeah. Questions? Yes? No? Couple more? We got a couple more time?
Yeah.
Would you have like any advice for like one of like the younger adults who grew up watching your stuff? Like when I watched Airbender, I was like 9 years old, and like
Crazy.
now I'm like around the same age as like Korra now, because I feel like Avatar kind of brought me up like, and now I'm at an age where I'm like trying to understand myself like 13, 20 years old now. Like, do you have like any advice for people who are like having a rough time at this time of their lives now?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, you remember being
Of course.
like?
I feel like I answer a lot of those questions. Like I'm telling you, like I have a lot of fans that are your age, and ask me a lot of questions that I answer in the middle of the night. My wisdom, just because I'm older, I guess I've been through a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're just like you're 20, and you feel like it's about to happen. And for someone my age, like you're still young. Like there's so much, there's so much more ahead of you. I always love getting the questions. And I wrote one out that like, what would you tell, yourself, if you ran into your like 15-year-old self, like what would you tell them? Or your 20-year-old self, like what would you tell them?
Pictures are cool. It's
gonna
be okay.
Yeah, I think because things in life, you value different things in life at different times of your life, But when you're your age, I would just, it's gonna be all right. This is the thing. You're not as bad as people think you are. You're probably cooler than you think you are. And you're probably not as cool as you actually think you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're all right. It's gonna be all right. Just kind of like follow your bliss, almost. I tell kids in college all the time, where people are like, man, life is hard. People don't tell you that when you're young or in college, like how hard life is to just go pay your bills and fall in love and like the basic stuff. It's rough, you know what I'm saying? It's not that easy, so it's like you might as well do what you want to do. I have friends that, took one path and they thought it was going to be the easy street. It doesn't happen like that, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, if I just do this, all of a sudden, I'm on the easy street. You're like, no matter what you want to do in life, if you want to be successful at it, even if you don't like it, you're going to have to spend not 20, not 40 hours a week, but you're going to be like the people that succeed at what they're doing. We're doing 60, 70 hours a week at what we want to do. So even the people that say if you want to be an artist and your mom wants you to be a doctor, guess how hard doctors have to work? You know what I'm saying? So no matter what you do, you got to work really hard to do it. So you might as well invest that time and energy into something you really want to do, because in the end, if it doesn't work out for you, there's never a waste if it's something that you love doing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always like, go follow your bliss, do that. Understand that life is going to be hard, but it's okay, because if you do something you like to do, and then you're good. And don't forget, relationships in life, like in love, you're always going to attract a reflection of you. So if there's a problem with a mate, look at yourself, because probably there's a problem with you. You know what I'm saying? Later on, you look at all the girls that you had problems, like all my relationships later on, I was like, oh, it's really me. Like, you really think it's them, but it's actually you. But then that's the same thing with them. Like, they're attracting you. They're messed up at that point. So the whole thing is like, go improve you. If you improve you, you'll attract something like you. You're always going to attract reflection. And then the other thing is like, save money. Save money. Like, that's my other thing, is like, not save money, just like be wise with your money. I was young and crazy, and I was like, be a little, like, save just a little bit. That's all. That's all I would say to a 20-year-old. Very vague, but like, go have fun. It's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I hate to follow this up with a trash question, but
It's good.
what was your favorite Zuko hairstyle?
Definitely not the ponytail. Definitely not the ponytail. I kind of like, I like the, I like the emo. I like emo Zuko, Shaggy emo Zuko probably is the best. I don't like the one that's growing back. It was like kind of a little bit too, like military-ish looking, The shaggy emo, little hair in the face. He can sing emo songs. He's like an emo band. He was like an emo character for a long time. There's so much where he had an emo haircut and he was like always screaming like why and all stuff like that. I'm like, why is he so emo?
There's a lot of stuff that happened, I guess.
He's like Panic at the Disco. Panic at the Disco, Zuko. Yeah, what was your favorite hairstyle? Shaggy emo. Emo Zuko.
I feel like made him look like almost the most approachable.
Nah, it's cool, but it's such a big part of it. I'm saying, like, I didn't watch the film, and I was like, why does Dev not have a ponytail? Part of like the evolution of Zuko, it has to do with his hair. You know what I'm saying? Cutting off the ponytail is such a major moment in Zuko's life, or if you're like that style of Asian like filmmaking, like that kind of thing. It's like the ponytail in your dynasty is like a very important part of your thing. And then like you're going, I'm gonna disown that part of my family. I'm like not gonna follow that. It's a big thing. It's like, where are you gonna go if you don't got a ponytail, dude? Get a ponytail. Yeah.
Ponytails are cool.
That's just me. I wouldn't even, if I was playing around, I'd probably be like not wanting to do the ponytail either, but it's so important.
For that kind of culture,
Yeah.
it definitely is.
Yes.
More question?
Do you think they'll ever come out with that type show game or however you say it? Because every time I watch Avatar, The Last Airbender, like I know it's based off of an actual game, which
Yeah.
and I forgot what that one's called,
I think
but
it's shogi.
like, yeah, shogi, or is that what it's called?
That'd be the Japanese version, but it's roughly the I don't know the Chinese version.
I don't know either. Who knows what they will do? They're gonna like put it to rest for a while, I think, the whole thing. But
So
then,
what do you tell them? Because every time I watch like Avatar, I'm like, I want to play my show so bad. Like nerd out, like on game night.
Just
yeah.
remember not to lose your white letters. Hard to replace those.
Question.
More question?
Yeah, Jess.
Random question. What's your favorite color?
Cobalt blue.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
Awesome.
Actually, mine's more of a gunmetal, so we're
Gunmetal, yeah.
we're close.
Yeah, Homestuck, what's up? Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what was your favorite character to portray?
I mean, Zuko's gotta be one of my favorites just because, you know, I got to play him for so many years and the character arc was crazy, you know? So I really love that character. Yes, it's Zuko. It's amazing.
All right. Well, let's see.
You guys have any more questions? A few more minutes? Yeah.
A few more minutes, yeah.
You're like the resident hand raiser back there.
Why Mesa, Arizona?
Oh, I don't know. You know what? Varney was doing it, and Varney's from out here, and like we're like handled by the same guy that books our places. And so they're like, you want to go to Mesa? Varney's gonna do it. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
That was the only reason you don't want to visit us.
No, I mean, the thing about the whole tour thing, the whole con thing, I only started doing cons about a year ago, so I don't really know. I'm not really on the con circuit in that way. And I only started doing cons because Grady Lau kind of talked me into it. And it's cool, it's been really cool. Like the whole I've been to Comic-Con obviously a lot in LA, but I think Comic-Con is different because it's not really a con to me, like it's a corporate sponsored event. Like when you go to Comic-Con San Diego, you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar, like $1 billion event, right? Where people are spending millions and millions of dollars to promote movies. And you're down there usually to promote something because you're promoting some $1 million thing. When you're going around the country and you're doing these things, it's really more special to me because these are really fan-sponsored events and it's really talking to fans, like this interaction. When I do a panel at Comic-Con San Diego, it's like, so crazy, and like you're really gonna answer like 2 questions, and you're like rushed out of the room, and you know you may do a signing, and you can say hi to someone for like 2 sign next person. It's like so crazy, but this kind of stuff is like more intimate and more like, you know what I'm saying? You're like really gonna go the people that dig your stuff and the things that you geek out about. You know, I go around like everyone else, go shop around dealers alley, the artist alley. My big thing is I love art, and so I'll visit with a lot of the illustrators. And as I've been going around last year, I'll take an illustrator from like St. Mesa and someone I like, and I'll commission them and license like something for them, and then take it to Tampa. I'll take someone from Tampa and take them to like Australia. And my whole concept is just spread art. I mean, that's what we're all here. The great thing is these cons are like, we're creative people. Everyone here is a creative person, and it's Mesa, that's anywhere. This is a first year con. It's pretty cool to be like in this really kind of intimate thing. I speak at a lot of colleges, right? And so one of the things I talk about is, I didn't go to college, but if I talk to art students, I talk about creativity, and I talk about us being the creatives. Going around a con is like, we're the creatives. Like, there are a lot of times people are like, you're the freaks and geeks, and that's kind of what you are, and that's what we are. But at the same token, what I like to instill in, I'm a Harry Potter fan. Harry Potter fans? Yeah? Yeah, so in the Harry Potter realm, I let people know, like, when you're an artist, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. And that means it's just like Harry Potter, like there are muggles and there are wizards. And we're wizards. You know what I'm saying? Like, make no mistake, we're wizards, what we do is magic. And it's not like we have to have, like, some of us are making a living through our art, but even if you're not making a living at it, doesn't make you any less of an artist or less of a creative person. Coming to these cons, seeing cosplayers, seeing illustrators, seeing people that support this and using their creativity, we're wizards. And a lot of our friends and families, people we love most, will never understand it. That's okay. They don't understand why you stay up all night making a costume, stay up all night writing that song or writing that poem or memorizing the lines for that thing that they're like, no one cares about this but you, but it's magic. Like, we're wizards. It's okay. Like, you don't have to love your parents or your friends any less. They're just muggles. They'll never get it, and it's all right. But coming to things like this is us wizards getting together to just celebrate each other, you know?
If anybody has any one last hard-hitting question, we can do that, or, yep. I think there's about time.
Personal, but Dante, later at your signing, can you please write "We're Wizards," Dante Basco?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Yeah, it's Harry Potter. It's Harry Potter. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you for hanging out.
Give him a round of applause for Dante Basco.
Cheers, you guys. Have a good rest of the weekend.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your con. He'll be heading back to his booth in the dealer's hall, so you can go meet him there, meet and greet.